CRT. CRT, or cathode ray tube, was an old type of TV that many people used for decades. Unlike TVs in our era that look thin and lightweight, CRT TVs are heavy and massive because they still use a big tube that emits cathode rays to the screen to form the images. And in terms of image quality, CRT TVs looked blurry and has distorted colors by today's standards. That's because the resolution of CRT was only 480i, which uses interlaced scanning, while modern resolution already uses progressive scanning. And just in case you don't know about interlaced or progressive scanning in TV, progressive means the TV can show a complete image instantly, while interlaced means the TV needs to create two halves of the image and then combine them in order to get the full frame. This is why an image in a CRT can look pale and might have some kind of lines. And not just that, this interlaced scanning can also make objects look blurry when there's a sudden movement on the screen. Despite all that, at least people could still watch some news, cartoons, and retro movies. But over time, their heavy size and low image quality made many people move on to plasma TV. Plasma. Plasma TV was the first flat-screen TV that replaced CRT TVs in the early 2000s. Unlike CRT TVs that were big and heavy, plasma TVs were much slimmer and lighter. This is because plasma doesn't use a big tube like CRT, but instead uses millions of tiny gas-filled cells behind the screen that light up when they receive electricity to produce the image. This technology not only made plasma TVs thinner, but also delivered better color contrast than CRT. And in terms of resolution, most plasma TVs already supported HD and Full HD with progressive scanning. Because of this, motion looked clearer and the image felt much smoother overall. These improvements made plasma TVs especially popular for watching movies, sports, and playing console games at the time. However, plasma TV consumed a lot of power, which caused them to produce more heat. Over time, this heat made plasma screens more prone to burn-in and image retention, where a visible mark can appear if the same image stays on the screen for too long. LCD. LCD, which stands for liquid crystal display, is the most commonly used screen technology today. Unlike a plasma TV that creates light by itself, LCD TV uses a light source behind the screen called a backlight. So this backlight emits white light towards the liquid crystal, and the liquid crystals will control how and which light can pass through, and then the light will hit the color filter, thus forming an image on the screen. With this technology, LCD TVs consume less power and produce less heat compared to plasma TVs, and they are also great for long viewing sessions like watching news or TV shows for hours because they don't suffer from burn-in. However, LCD TVs aren't that good for watching movies because this backlight technology often makes everything too bright. As a result, the image can look less realistic and less immersive compared to plasma TVs. Also, when a scene shows objects with similar colors such as clouds, smoke, or the sky, LCD TVs can make it harder to see the details. And some LCD variants even have terrible viewing angles too, so colors can look washed out or distorted when viewed from the side. LED. LED, which stands for light-emitting diode, is actually still an LCD TV, but the main difference is that they replace the old fluorescent backlight with smaller LED lights that spread across the screen. This not only makes LED TVs more energy efficient, but also improves color and contrast compared to LCD TVs, which makes it good enough for everyday watching like YouTube, Netflix, and TV channels. LED TVs also come in different variants, such as Edge LED, which is cheaper because the lights are only placed around the edges, and Direct LED, which is more expensive because the lights cover the entire back of the screen. In practice, having more LEDs allows better contrast, and this difference becomes even more noticeable when compared to regular LCD TVs, especially in dark scenes. But actually, no matter which type it is, dark scenes can't be perfectly black on LED TVs, and that's normal. This happens because the shine from the backlight can still spread into dark areas. That's why Mini LED was created later. Mini LED. Mini LED is the advanced version of the regular LED TV. So unlike the regular version that only uses hundreds of LEDs, Mini LED TVs use thousands of much smaller LEDs packed behind the screen. This allows Mini LED TVs to dim and brighten different parts of the screen more accurately. As a result, when we see a dark image, Mini LED can show darker blacks while also still keeping tiny details like this charcoal visible. While on a regular LED TV, this is much harder to see due to dark colors getting washed out. Because of this deeper black quality, Mini LED TVs are great for watching movies in dark rooms. And they're also great for gaming, since details and enemies in dark scenes are easier to spot while bright effects still stand out. But despite being this advanced, mini LED TVs still have a weakness called blooming. This is when light spreads into nearby dark areas because the backlight behind the screen still isn't precise enough to control light properly in dark scenes. Another weakness is that in very bright rooms or when sunlight hits the screen, dark details can be harder to see. This is why a brighter technology like QLED exists. QLED. QLED, which stands for Quantum Dot LED, is also an advanced version of the LED TV. But instead of using many tiny LEDs to improve dark scenes like mini LED, QLED uses a technology called quantum dots to make the image brighter and colors more vibrant. Because of this, QLED TVs look more eye-catching and perform better in bright rooms or daylight. This is especially useful if your living room gets a lot of sunlight or is more open and well lit. But because QLED focuses on brightness and color, its contrast and blacks aren't as strong as mini LED. And since it still uses backlight technology, blooming can still happen on QLED TV as well. So in the end, this shows that even advanced LED TVs have limits, which is why OLED exists. OLED. OLED, which stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode, is a premium TV technology that offers the highest level of image quality. And despite having the word LED in its name, OLED is actually very different and unrelated to any kind of LED TV. Because OLED doesn't use any backlight, instead it uses self-lit pixels, which can create their own light and can completely turn off when it needs to show black. As a result, dark areas look truly black, while colors stay bright and vivid even in very dark scenes. As a simple comparison, OLED and mini LED can look similar in very dark scenes. But when a bright object suddenly appears, mini LED might show blooming, while OLED keeps bright and dark areas perfectly separated. OLED also has a great motion clarity. So when objects move very fast, the movement looks clearer on OLED because the pixels respond almost instantly. This makes it great not only for streaming and cinematic content, but also for high-end gaming. But of course, with all those premium features, OLED also becomes more expensive compared to other types of TVs. And because OLED uses organic materials, there's a risk of image retention or burn-in over long-term use. Micro LED. Micro LED is a luxury TV screen technology that's mainly used for very large and high-end displays. Instead of using a backlight or organic pixels, Micro LED uses millions of microscopic LEDs, where each tiny LED acts as its own pixel and produces its own light. Or in other words, Micro LED basically combines the strengths of both LED and OLED technologies. This means it can get extremely bright like LED TVs and have perfect contrast like OLED, but without the blooming issues of LED or the burn-in risk of OLED. However, despite all these strengths, micro LED TVs are still extremely massive and expensive. Because of this, they are mostly only seen in showrooms and demos, and they're definitely overkill for normal use like watching movies or gaming. So in real life, having micro LED or not doesn't really matter anyway. What matters more is the resolution of your screen, because that's what determines how clear and sharp the image actually looks. Anyway, I already made some other cool videos too, so don't forget to watch them later, okay?